of this that some of you would be interested in is that in 1907, our church had 135 members. It was one of the largest churches in the association. The pastor's salary that year was $300. The pastors are always interested in the salaries. The pastor's salary was $300 that year, and the value of the church property that year was reported as between $23,000. That's a far cry from today's figures, of course. The pastor's name in 1907 was W.A. Parker. He lived in Jackson. The clerk was W.S. Pugh, and the Sunday school superintendent was W.H. Elmore from Frankville. W.S. Pugh was also from Frankville. There are a lot of other statistics in this. Chatham was not one of the churches in this association, but St. Stephen's was. Some other churches that were in the Antioch Association was Leroy and Bogalusa, Spring Bank number 1 and Spring Bank number 2, and Mount Pisgah and Ishni and Healing Springs, Hickory Grove, Friendship, Center Ridge, Chapel Hill number 1 and 2, and Chalk Hill and Black Creek, Walnut Hill, Bethany, Zion Rest, Corinth, Cedar Springs, New Hope, churches, some of which I do not even know where they're at, but it's interesting to read this as the official minutes of 1907. This building is a characteristic building in our area, as you know, and the best information that we can glean, that I have been able to find out since I've been here, has been that this building was dedicated in 1905. So at the time the association was meeting in 1907, it was this was a new building, although it was not meeting here. Some changes have been made even this year in our building, and we think that it was an improvement to it. And it's been a great privilege to be here as pastor of this church for the years that I have been here. And, a lot of things have happened, and a lot of blessings, as well as some heartbreak. But it's been a privilege to be here, to be pastor of this church during these years.
What's the membership now in 1997?
The membership now is just a little over 100, and I don't know, counting the non-resident members as well as the resident, I'm not sure that I can be exact, but it's about 107, I think. I'm not positive about that.
Any questions? Thank you.
Know how old I am?
And what's your name?
Lizzie Henson.
Okay.
My mother and daddy was a Goldman and a Richardson. And I was born in 1900.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
Oh, I reckon there's about 14 of us. And I got one brother and one sister, Billy.
And
Eli Goldman in Mobile. And Sister Minnie is in Chickasaw. And she's 2 years and a half younger than I am.
And you're 97?
Huh?
You're 97?
We'll be in November.
You still live here in Frankville?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Washington County. And I've been staying with my son-in-law. Well, I reckon about it. Yeah, Brother Stone.
I spent about a year, or maybe a little over.
I've been staying with him a long time. But I got where I fall and couldn't get up. And the way I'd get up, I'd crawl to the telephone, call 911, and they'd come and help me to get up.
How many children did you have?
And you know that I mean to
What were their names?
Barbara Mosley. She was a bus, but she married a Mosley. And Tom, his daddy was a bus, and Barbara was a bus.
Do they live in Frankville now?
Yeah,
They're deceased. They're
no,
both deceased.
Deceased.
Barbara had been dead quite a while. And I'm living with her husband, my son-in-law.
Tell us about going to school in Frankville.
Huh?
Tell us about going to school. How much schooling did you have and where?
Me? I didn't have but two, a girl and a boy.
School.
How many years schooling did you have, Miss Lizzie? How many years did you go to school?
I don't remember.
You don't remember how many years you went to school?
Me?
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
yeah, I went to the 6th grade.
Where'd you go to school?
Some of the time I went here at Frankville, but it wasn't right here. The school was back out yonder. And I went to that school, and Miss Debbie McKee was the one that taught me. And Mr. Florence Grenade learned me more than the teacher did.
How many teachers did you have in the school?
What do you say?
How many teachers did you have in school?
How many teachers?
How many teachers?
Just one. You ever know Mr. Florence Grenade? You ever know him?
No, ma'am.
Well, he taught me more in school than the school teacher did.
Was he a teacher?
Mhm.
He was not.
Was,
What did Mr. Grenade do?
what did Mr. Grenade do? Was he a,
No, he was a student in school,
okay,
and but anyhow, he helped me out in my lesson
okay.
more than the school teacher wasn't interested in helping me, but Mr. Florence Grenade did.
What was the Depression like in Frankville? Tell us about what you remember about the Depression in Frankville.
It was tough.
I know it was.
No,
Here's the first knock.
we didn't have no lights. You get your water out of the spray down yonder. And I know when groceries was rationing and gasoline was rationing. You had a little book. You could just get so much gasoline and you charge it to that book, but you couldn't get no more.
Grandma,
Huh?
tell them about your first car ride.
Well, the first car ride I ever rode in my life, Mr. George Grenade lived up across City Bowl. And me and my sister was going to Mr. Hall,
Poe,
huh?
to Poe.
Yeah, to the stubble. And we heard a racket coming behind us, and we didn't know what it was. We were scared of it and got up on the bank. Got up on the bank, get out of the way of that racket. We didn't know what it was. It was an old Ford. Well, he come on and stopped right at the object of it. He said, "You ladies want to ride?" We said, "Yeah." And we're going on over to Mr. Fogarty's store. We went on over there and we thanked him. Well, I didn't know what it was. When we got back to the house, Mama said, "How come y'all so quick?" I said, "Well, we got a ride in a black thing. I don't know what it was."
How old were you then?
I reckon I was about 8 or 9 years old.
Grandma, you told me it was 1916 when you had your first ride.
Yeah, it was in 1916 when I had the first ride in a car. And I didn't know what it was. It was a black thing.
I'm going to ask you something, then I'm going to give you somebody else a chance to talk. Tell them about when you started dipping snuff and the first time, and giving the cat a dip of snuff.
Oh, I was dipping stuff about when I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I've been dipping snuff the whole 98 years, 97 years.
What about the cat getting a dip?
Huh?
What about giving the cat a dip of snuff?
Tell them about giving the cat a dip of snuff.
One time, Mama had gone up to Uncle Doc's, just a short piece up, and we had an old pet cat. And anywhere you went, that cat would follow you and love you. So I had a dip of snuff and a chew tobacco, had both of them in my mouth, and it got that cat and held his mouth open, and I spit it in his mouth and made him swallow. When I made him swallow it and put it down, he had a fit, and that was all it killed him right then.
Killed him?
Yeah. Mama said when she come in, she got to call the cat to give me supper. She couldn't find him. She said, "What have you young and done with my cat?" No, said, "We don't know. We was all out here in the yard playing. We didn't know nothing about what happened to the cat." Well, she just kept questioning, first one and then another of us youngers, a bunch of them, to find out what happened to her cat. Well, I went on in the kitchen where Mama was there, and I said, "Mama, if you won't whip me, I'll tell you exactly what ailed that cat." And she said, "Well, I won't whip you." I said, "They caught that cat and held him, and I spit tobacco and snuff in his mouth, made him swallow. And we put him down, and he died right then." And I said, "There's a big gully down the hill after he we'd put him down there and put some rock on him so he wouldn't float, so she couldn't see him." And I told her she wouldn't whip me. She didn't whip me. But she gave us a caution about what we done to that cat.
Grandma told me this story before, and I asked her if she had a life to live over, was there anything that she wouldn't do? And she said, "Yes, I wouldn't give a cat a dip of snuff."
Didn't know what.
That's what you told me one time before. You wouldn't give, if you had your life to live over, you wouldn't give a cat a dip of snuff.
No, I wouldn't give it to her. But I did. I did. I just want to give that cat. Us youngers used to do anything for devil men. We didn't mean no harm by it, but we just done a little bit of everything for the fun we got out of it. And I'm gonna tell you, we got the fun out of that cat. He kicked the bucket. It's one that Mama had to beat us all up, but she didn't.
Do you remember anything that happened in school?
Yeah. One time, Daddy had made some big, nice watermelons and had them up in the field. And he had some of them marked, saving them for seed. And my uncle lived right up on the hill from us. And he had some boys, and them boys lived down there and stole their seed watermelon. And Daddy whipped every one of us. And when I started up that, he whipped this and that and the other. And I started up there, I said, "Daddy, don't hit me hard because I didn't get them. I ain't got them with just one thin and a little apron." And so he didn't whip me hard. But anyhow, he found out right after then who got the watermelons. It wasn't none of us young ones that got them. He had a bunch of young ones. And one time we was all out in the yard playing. And my sister that lived in Chickasaw. We had pulled tricks on all over. We had a lard can out there, and she was going to sit down in that lard can, and she couldn't get up. She got to sit down and doubled up in that lard can, and she couldn't get up. Well, she couldn't get up. Why? We like to never pull her out of that lard can.
Lard can?
Yeah, lard can. And we like to never pull her out of that.
Anyone have any questions?
But I was born and raised in Washington County in 1900.
When did you get married?
And when I got married in 1918, the 29th of January in 1918.
Did you get married here at the church?
No, I got married at Van Atworth's in Mobile. You know anything about that? Van Atworth was a drugstore in Mobile, and that's where I got married. No, I take it all back. We didn't get married there. We got married at the Justice of the Peace's office in Plateau. And then we went to Van Atworth, and that's where we eat our wedding supper. And I didn't eat oyster. And I love the ham out there and that.
What kind of work did your husband do?
Huh?
What kind of work did your husband do?
My husband, he farmed. He had mules. I used to ride a mule many days to the plantation and get roasted and corn and put them up on the fence, get on that mule and ride up to that fence, and she'd stop and I'd pull that roasted and okra and stuff back across in the saddle with me. And I'd take off and go back up the river. Man, that wasn't yesterday. He
Died in 1946.
1946.
Would you tell us about your second marriage and your husband?
It was Jesse Henson, the second marriage was him. And I was married to him 35 years. And I had waited on his wife when she was in the hospital with cancer. And when she died, Jesse came right after me, wanted me to marry him. Well, at such a time, I went on and married him, and he had a bunch of young boys. And he got the best of everything. But it's all right, I've made it ever since. I thank God I'm still living, I'm still getting a living off of him. And he's got a bunch of young ones now in Warner Robin, Georgia. One of them in Denver, Colorado. I talk to two of them every Saturday morning, and they're living in Warner Robin, Georgia. And they say, you're talking about a storm, but they had it up there. And my grandson, great-grandson, was in Auburn, and he said about the worst storm that he ever had seen, it was in Auburn. So you're talking about wind, rain, hail, thunder, lightning, but it happened. And we didn't have no electricity. Didn't have no running water. We had to get water out of the spring down there.
How'd you wash clothes?
Yeah.
How did you wash them?
How deep was the water?
How did you wash clothes, Grandma?
We'd go down there and get water out of that spring and put it in a tub, in a pot, and we'd use an old rubber board.
Grandma still goes to the family reunion every year, and she dances. She dances at every family reunion.
Is that right?
My grandson carried her up there in a convertible a few years ago.
Richardson. And she's got a whole record of me. She sat down and wrote it down on a piece of paper before we come out here. Cut holes in the side and the bottom for the neck. I get in there, I dip turpentine and put it in that bucket, the carrot over yonder, put it in a barrel.
You just took a sack and cut holes in it to make a dress.
Yeah. The little boy says, I've done a little bit of everything. I plowed some, I've hoed some, and I milked a bunch of cows. And I I sold about 8 or 10 pounds of butter every week he come. To a guy in Mobile.
Where did you do your shopping when you were
Huh?
working? Where did you do your shopping?
What did you say?
Where did you do your shopping? Where'd you get your groceries?
Where did we get that grocery? In Mobile, Mr. CSL Mobile. I keep slipping out here check. Mr. CSL Mobile. He'd take us with sell anywhere from 10 to 12 bushels of corn every weekend and carry it to Mobile. And we'd buy sacks of coffee when it was rationed. Everything was rationed. We'd buy whole sacks of coffee and I'd parch them. And I had a coffee mill and grind them up, parch them and grind it up.
He would trade the corn or sell the corn.
We shelled it on a shovel. We'd shuck it and shell it, sack it up. And have it ready for Mr. Fairselmo to come and get it every weekend and carry it to Mobile.
Then he would pick your groceries up.
Yeah. We'd get our groceries and things in Mobile.
I'm from Aurora, and I was born in 3 miles north of here. It was one time it was called Silver Cross. And there's been a lot of things that happened since then, and a lot of things happened then. And one time, well, my granddaddy was Curtis D. Buller, and my grandmother was Sue Grenade Buller. And what I was fixing to say, there was a mail route from Frankville to Silver Cross, and it was a man by the name of Grover Reynolds carried the mail with a red mule, and his name was Rick. That was many, many years. And after that, Sid Locke from Leroy brought it from Carson to Silver Cross. And in later years, the post office was discontinued. And they were in Silver Cross. My daddy had a small store, and my uncle had one. And they had to use mules to go to Peavy's Landing to get the groceries shipped up on a steamboat from Mobile. And that's the only way that you would get any groceries was on a steamboat. You could get it on the railroad, but it was much closer to the rivers. And had deckhands that would unload it in the warehouse, and then you would have to be there to claim your what you had ordered. And I believe we got electricity, and I believe it was 47. And we got water in 86.
Where did Silver Cross get its name?
I don't know where it got its name. I just don't remember that might have been the time, but I don't remember that. A lot of things I've forgotten. I don't remember, can't remember that good lady here.
Mr. Garner, I believe you got water in 76.
I did?
I believe you got water in 76.
No, it was
85.
No. It was 86, so the man that one of the killers. 86.
85.
And telephones. We've had telephones as long as I can remember. Nash County Johnson over here had the telephone exchange, and he used mules and his wagon to get poles out of the wood and put them up to where it lined them. And that was one of these rain kind. On around, that was long, and half round was short. And each person had a different rain. They had 2 longs and a short, 2 shorts and a long, and a long and a short. So You had to be up on the ball, then you'd get mixed up, you'd get the wrong person.
And party lines, everyone could listen to you.
Yeah, that's part, oh, yeah, those are it, yeah. And after that, Melvin Brown from Millery took over, but of course, when he first took over, there was eight on party line for several years.
Who did you marry?
Married Francis Grenade.
How many children?
We had 2 children, and I have 4 grandchildren.
What are your children's names?
I have my son is dead, and my daughter lives in Birmingham, and I have 1 granddaughter lives over here close to me, 1 in Nashville, Tennessee, 1 in Frankville, Tennessee, and 1 in Birmingham.
Oh.
With oxen, tell us about the cutting timber with the oxen and what it was like doing that.
Oh, well, yeah, you cut your timber with a cross-cut saw. And you pulled them out with oxen or mules or horses. And I have a picture of some oxen. One steer had horns 48 inches from tip to tip. And it was hard for him to get through the woods because you had to watch for him. And you could pull out, well, once get them out, pull out as much in a day as you could with an ox team, and probably in a month. But everything else was different. And, well, during the Depression, a lot of the labor around here, you paid 50 and 60 cents a day if they could get a job. There wasn't any job.
50 and 60 cents a day.
Yes, I know of several places that they paid 50, 60 cents a day to work in the woods. Then when they first started getting paperwood here, people cut it and put it up in a 5-foot rack, a square pen. They got 20 cents a rack for putting it up.
What did you do with the timber you cut?
Well, you had to carry it to the river, and it was shipped to Mobile. Pulpwood was shipped on barges to Mobile, and the logs were rafted at the river and pulled to Mobile too. I remember one time, my daddy, you could cut pine timber, you cut it down and let it leave the top on it 2 weeks, and then you cut the top out and it would float. That was pine. And he cut it and put it in up there on Centerbow Creek, which some know where Centerbow Creek is, it's down the road here. And then when the creek got real high, he rolled it in the creek and floated it to the mouth of Centerbow at the river, and then rafted it up. The creek wasn't wide enough to raft. Hardwood, you did well, and the hardwood was carried to the river, and it was put on a gun boat, pulled to Mobile too.
Do you remember when the highways were paved in Frankville?
Yeah, 54.
1954?
I'm Earl Johnson, and I was born in Region, Kentucky, in 1917. That's on December the 31st, when all the big snows, it claimed that snow was knee-deep about that time, and back in them days, we didn't have any doctors, and a midwife came, and I was partially born when she got there, and my father, he was out, said he'd gone out to get his war papers fixed up. And of course, when he came, and he gave the midwife 50 cents, I understand it. And anyway, we lived there in Kentucky for years. course, I helped farm and had a little bit of schooling, not a lot, but anyway, I knew how to work. So in 1934, I believe, Sue Bell Reynolds came up there, and I met her. And of course, we courted about a year, and I came down here. One was 17-year-old. We got married in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And she came on home. In about 2 months, I came down here. I think it was September of 1935. So anyway, I stayed down here and done whatever I could. A dollar was like a wagon wheel back in them days. And about a year after that, I had a heart attack. And the doctor said didn't think I'd make it, but I did, by the grace of the Lord. And anyway, I didn't think that it would be any more good either way the doctor talked, but found out nobody didn't want to make me a living, so I had to go to work. Anyway, I farmed some and done a little of everything. Rode a mule here to the river, get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and ride the mule to the river and plow. Made a little crop and whatnot. In 1939, I went to store business. My brother-in-law and he had $100 and I sold $69 worth of hogs, and we went to business. And anyway, a few months he decided he'd get out, and I gave him $200. Well, I had to borrow that. Wrote my father, and he had to go out and borrow it, I think. And anyway, it wasn't long, my mother wrote me that that man wanted his money, and I said, no. Well, I got it up and sent it to him, and we was getting along pretty good at the store business. And anyway, I've farmed, logged, and sold mobile homes, and I've done a little of all of it, and never didn't get rich at nothing, but I made a living. And we run the store from 1939 to 1983. And anyway, we closed it up in 1983. Of course, I guess I call myself retired, but I still have a bunch of cattle and did first one thing and another. And here I am, 79-year-old. Of course, some people don't tell their age, but I've had quite a few ups and downs through life. I'm a diabetic now, and I've been fighting cancer for 20 years. So far, the Lord's been good to me. And anyway, I'm going to continue on through life the best I can.
How'd you make it during the war years with the rationing with the store? Was that a problem?
We had stamps and for gasoline, stamps for food, and all that stuff. I went to Mobile every week and got short supplies of stuff, and I had quite a bit of stuff, and it was rough. We didn't have any electricity at that time, and the lights, and people would come in there just like that. We had to ration out lard, 1 pound to the customer. And when it finally broke loose, well, I got a whole tier of lard. It cost me $205. And actually it cost me 48 cents a pound. I was selling it for 60. And it all broke loose, and of course I finally got rid of it anyway. Yeah, I had a lot of ups and downs during the war.
How many paved roads did you have to go to Mobile on back?
Well, it was only played, I think it was only from Calvert down, I believe it was right, until later years.
What did gas sell for back then, do you remember? Per gallon?
I would think from 20 to 30 cents. I'm not exactly.
When did the area around Peavy's Landing develop into a sporting type area instead of a working area?
Well, it hasn't been about
Recreational area, I guess, would be.
It was after my wife died, I believe, some of them came up here and asked me, we owned that place down there, and which I farmed, and had cows on it and all that, and that, a guy came to me and said they had 8 people that wanted to rent a lot down there. And, well, at that time, didn't get much, and now I don't get enough to worry and aggravation of it. But anyway, I told my son-in-law, Leon Harris, that I didn't want to fool with it. I had enough of public life. And so him and Billy Nail, my daughter, took it over, and they've been trying to make a go of it. Which they do have quite a few tenants down there.
Do you remember what year it was that you first rented it for recreation?
Well, it was, somewhere in the early 80s, 1980.
And your wife was a Reynolds, you said. Tell us about her, please.
Sue Bill Reynolds, which was a mighty fine lady, and I regret very much losing her. Been a lonesome life since then. And I have a daughter, but she might hit me. I told her I was a 60-year-old, and my son, now Jerry, he's 50-year-old. And of course, I have a granddaughter and a grandson, and the grandson has 2 daughters, and one of them's married, and have a granddaughter. She has 3 nice children, very nice with them.
Does anyone have an idea where we got the name Frankville for this area?
I know. This church house was here when I came here.
I can tell you, but it wouldn't be on video. Mr. Franklin made that, boy, you got to get it from me because he didn't ever put it on record.
What's your name?
William C. Mosley, born 1915. About a mile away from here. And my mother's name was Sadie Virginia Chew, and she married Arthur C. Mosley. And he died in 1918 when I was 3 years old. Mama raised 3 of us children. Wasn't no welfare, wasn't no Social Security, nothing. Mama taking, washing, things like that to raise us. And got to go into school down at Midway then. Walk up that Tall Creek Baptist Church. It was a schoolhouse and a church house. Get water out of the spring. Get lighted knots out of the wood and told them up there and build a fine heater. Had a wooden frame around it, dirt around the heater. Keep the floor from getting hot. Then we got a change to going to St. Stephen's, Alabama. Had a bus. Mr. Mark Palmer was a school bus driver. It was a Ford truck, single wheel. He went wood and cut him some black gum poles, put 6 standards on the free to the side, had an oilcloth on top of it for keep the rain off of us. What's our buddy Melton back there was a school teacher at the time. We'd come up the road one evening, got the raining, that oilcloth got the bagging down in the middle. We got to swinging that thing back and forth, and black gum poles would drop and nailed to the bottom and wrecked that oilcloth, just busted. All the water poured in on the bus. Out on a Friday, Monday morning, we had a new bus driver, a new bus. So that was just part of what was happening when I was going to school, and I growed up. And
How many months a year did you go to school?
how that?
how many months a year did you attend school?
I done forgot now. How many did we go much out of? 8 months? I forgot what it was, but anyway, after I quit going down there, my mother married again, and I come down here to Big Bitty School. Miss Ruth Beach was my teacher that year, and the next year was Miss Mother Waits was my teacher. So that's the one that taught me what I know. And getting to get a little age on me, a little size, about 12 years old, we'd walk out during the panic, you know, the Hoover Depression. And we'd walk 3, 4, 5 miles and cross-cut logs with a cross-cut saw. We'd cut 100 nails with my stepdad then. So after that, I got a little older and all. It began to get a little harder to live than it was on those days. And I got a job, the first job with my dad-in-law was $8 a month, board and washing. So I worked there with him a couple of years. Went to work with Cleve Everett. And $8 a month that year. And the first cow I ever bought, gave $8 for it. $8 for that cow. And working for that $8 a month. So then I quit, decided to do something else. I went back home to my stepdad and my mother, and we cut paper wood. It had done gone up to 6-foot pins then. 20 cents a pin. Wait a minute, 10 cents a pin. And we'd put up 20 cents a pin, we'd put up 20 pins to make $1 a piece a day and walk them 4 or 5 miles to do that, you know. $1 a piece. So after that CC camp, I went in it for 2 years. I went to West Overvale in north central part of California, and back down there in Chunkshoe, Alabama. We'd get $5 a month, 25 go home £1. But my parents kept mine for me. I stayed in there 2 years and come out a little over $500. I was 24 years old then, and I married my wife, which was Barbara Butts, my sister's daughter. And we moved out 2 years. Oldest daughter was born, which was Frances Ann. So I still logging around first one another. Let me go back a little and tell you about the logging. We would single wheel trucks. First logging ever done, where you cut a little more than that. He'd give us 3 cents a log, cut them logs. I had to cut 6 to 7 to make $1 a piece, just a little over $1. Johnny Moe and myself would cut together. We got in pretty good timber. We got to cut 300 a day, make $3 a piece, man. We was making money then. So,
What'd you cut it with?
cross-cut saw. Cross-cut saws. Let me tell you, well, I'll go ahead and tell you about that. It was a straight-back saw. And it had a little narrow for paper wood, you know. That straight-back saw is what you cut the log with. Wide in the middle and narrow at the end. You get in a pinch and make little short loops to get it out. Don't drive a wedge in behind it. So later on, come out with what they call a swayback saw. And we went and bought one of them. It was $8. We'd get $1 a thousand then, and man, the family would get better. You and your buddy get $1 a thousand cut. So we bought that straight back saw, give $8 for it. And it got out, we had a swayback salmon. And Mr. Ellis Judden, he owned over 85,000 acres in Washington County. He heard we had one, and he come up there to try. He come up there, and I just got through finding it that day at Dunham. He drove up and said, "Tell me you got a swayback salmon." I said, "Yeah, well, I'd like to try it." Okay, so we went out down, we cut down, we were in some good timber at the time. we'd cut those trees down, cut them up. He stayed down there 2 or 3 hours trying that saw, and I bet you got him on to the swing of it. A little bit different one with the straight back. He stayed there, he got satisfied, and said, well, he says, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna buy some of them, I like them. So after that, I went to, after all that happened, I had to go into service and everything, and stayed in that 2 years. I tell you a little something about that. I was on the West Coast with that and all. Between all that time, I went to Mobile, went to work before I went to service. Went down at Southern Craig Pay Mill, which is international now. 57 cents an hour down there. So we got a raise 62, man, we'd done something. I put in 5 16-hour days, 8 on Saturday and Sunday. I had to have that money. So, on rolling shift, I couldn't get used to that rolling shift, changing every week. And they wouldn't let me go on straight days, not night, graveyard, and nothing. I went to work at Dick's Boat Company, carpentering. And I got up to $1.20 an hour, but then that was scale. I would always make shipyard in the wood, then $1.20 an hour. And I've been asked that, the dragon stuff in the Air Force. So we got down through there and we processed it in one day. And Sergeant said, what do you want to be in this man's army? I thought maybe it'd do me some good to get out. I said, well, we got a choice to be auto mechanic. He flipped back through the record. Said, no, you won't be no auto mechanic. You're making too much money carpenter. You will be a carpenter. So that's what I've done most of the time in the service. I was a carpenter. We had taken our basic training. We told Fort Texas, then went to Phoenix, Arizona, and then went to Denver, New Mexico, and got settled down a carpenter there. And that camp broke up, went to Carlsbad, New Mexico. Now I was processing in there. You have to process in and out when you're in service. Got down through there and started, he says, look, pulled a card out of the pocket. Said, you don't go no further, you report to Major than that. I said, well, I wonder what I've done now, and I got to go to Major the first thing. Went up there and reported in to him, and he come on out and shook hands with me, and he said, office was in the mess hall. Office in one end, kitchen hall was in the middle, and the mess hall both in the other end, but the office in one end, they wanted to put the cabin back down the kitchen part, said, I want to build a pool table, a pool room back here, can you fix it? I said, yes, sir. So he carried me over and showed me a private building to get in. Carpenter shop was in the back, and I had my own laboratory and everything in there. So you can get somebody to stand here with me. He said, I know somebody, get George Shaver. So I went down and built that pool room, we went to El Paso and got pool tables, snooker tables, put them in there and everything. Got charged charged him, I think, a nickel a game, but get 50 cents an hour, you know, keeping the pool room. And I done that a good bit. And Major told me when he asked me could I build a pool room, he said, now Carpenter don't care how I'm aware, if you stay with me, I'll see you make as much money as anybody. Well, in the Air Force, there's more officers than I enlisted men. And they had pool tables all over the field. And he'd get me them jobs upholstering them pool tables, $15 a piece. And a lot of nights I would upholster free and make me $45 that night, you know, up to 11 o'clock, then come home, come in and go to sleep and everything. So after that place that broke up and everything, we went to another place, Phoenix, Arizona. And I was certain close to it until I was dismissed. So after I come out of service and all, come back home, I went to work for William Moser, worked with him the rest of the time. And we used to log with oxen, 5-yoke oxen in the wood, them single wheel trucks. We'd carry 500, 600 feet of the load. All that kind of stuff went on. Now I think anywhere from 5,000 or 6,000 on up, go a bit of weight mostly.
When did y'all first start using chainsaws?
Chainsaw. That was after I come out of service. I can't tell you what year it was. But anyway, we started using them. We had done something and we started using them. But now we go back to Frankville here. There used to be 3 warehouses down at Peewee Landing. 2 small ones down under the bluff. The freight come up on the boats and pick it up with mule wagons and haul it up here to the stores. And a lot of times down there what's called a Jack Everett Lane, there was a fence on each side of it. They'd get stuck down there coming up the road with mule wagons with a load of freight coming up the road, get stuck right down here on Peewee Landing Road. So after Mr. Brown bought the Coleman Plantation down there, he decided he would little 2 warehouses down, they quit using them then. 2 warehouses down on the bluff had brought it down, just about it, so, and they had a big one up on the bluff, and he, Gaston Smith himself was working for him at the time. He got us to move them little warehouses up on the bluff and build them up there. All right, they were logs, they put logs in there, you cut them down and cut pine logs down and just cut them down and leave them 2 to 3 weeks depending on the weather and how long they'll stay there. And then you cut them off, take them down there and raft them up and go to Mobile. Now ahead of that, long then the tugboat would pull them. But before then, my granddaddy too, he used to run them rafts to Mobile by hand. They'd get on them rafts and float them down there. Had oars and things, and hook and jam poles. They'd have to spend the night down in there sometimes. Make it about the weather, you had to stay at that raft and everything. Rain or shine, sleet or snow.
How long did it take them to get to Mobile?
I forgot about a week. Anyway, they could take the raft down there and they'd catch the train back to Carson and get off and down there the best way they could. There wasn't no bridges across Talladega River nowhere. After I got big enough with ferry boats. And you'd go down and drive up on that flat, you know, and they'd carry you across the river. One down here at Jackson, one up here at Coffeyville. So then they eventually built a bridge at Jackson, and a toll bridge. And they charged you to go across and everything, and it was a drawbridge. Man stayed down and opened it up, you know, when the boat come down. Then you'd have to stop for the boat to go through, and eventually freed that bridge.
Was that after the war?
We started hauling logs to Jackson, Alabama. Man, we'd done something then.
What year was that, do you think?
Oh, shoot, that was, I born in 1950, about 20 years old. What was that, about
1935.
along in there. And anyway, all such as that went on. There's been a lot of changes since I've been here in the timber business and everything else. So, get back this road here. We got this Peewee Landing Road in 1963. Best I remember. Well,
Is that getting,
some of the neighbors got married that year. We couldn't go down the road, and that's when they got married. How come you remember that?
got paved?
That?
Peavy's Landing Road got paved in
It got paved.
1963.
Now, one going to Silcross got paved way ahead of that. But anyway, when I was trying to get that road out down through, I'd go day and night, get my neighbors to go with me. We'd go see the commissioners, you know, and meet commissioner court and chat and everything.
Who was the probate judge then?
Judge Kimbrough, I'll tell you about that. So he talked to him about it, and he promised me that go blacktop that road if I'd support him. So that he'd go run, you know, right away. So I told him, yeah, I'd support him. And Earl Johnson's wife, she knew I was after working day and night, both after. She asked me one day, said, "You think you're gonna get it?" I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna get that road." I said, "Yeah, we're gonna get it." She said, "I got a good mind to tell you, if you do, I'm gonna put your name up at the church and go letters." I said, "Get the letters, I'm gonna get the road." So we got the road, and when Judge run, I went day and night trying to get him elected, you know, and he did. He carried Frankville box and everything. And so all sorts of that went on during my time. We got water, city water in '85. My daughter, my youngest daughter, she was working with him at the time. While she was on the water board, working for him, she wasn't on the water board. Board member told me that she had the second best water was in the state of Alabama. They tested every 30 days, you know. Have to get it taken down and tested. She was keeping up with all of it. She flushed it regular. She went to school on it and everything, and she was doing it like she said do it, you know. All sorts of that went on. I think that's just about all I know to tell you.
Thank you, you've done a good job. Okay, go ahead.
I'm Jerry Earl Johnson.
And who is your father?
Earl Johnson.
And where did you go to school?
My first place I went to school was right here in Frankville, Alabama, right across from the post office.
Is that where the Masonic Lodge is now?
That's where the Masonic Lodge is now.
When did that school close?
The first time I can remember it closing was in 1967. It was a grammar school there then, and then 3 years after that, in 1970, it was a private school there then, and as far as I can remember, it didn't last but about 4 years and then closed up.
When did we get the first fire department in Frankville? Volunteer fire department.
1986.
Is there anything else around that you can think of we haven't covered?
I know we got city water in 1985.
Okay. And then you go with the students here, go from here to Leroy to school.
They go from here to Leroy to school,
And some go to Chatham.
and some goes to Chatham. It used to be a school right over here by Mount Bethel Church a long time ago before they started going to Chatham, Alabama.
When did that one close, do you know?
I think somewhere in the 1960s. Here in this store, from 1960 till 1983 before it closed. And one time before that, in 1970, '70, I went to work at a sawmill out from Chatham.
Who ran it?
Name of it was Carpenter and Dickey Lumber Company.
Okay, and it's closed now.
It's closed down, and all three of them are deceased men. I worked at that sawmill 2 days, and after I quit that second day, my daddy knew I was coming back to work anyway for him at the store. I didn't like that sawmill work at all them 2 days.
Well, you must have been pretty good to have had a job to come back to.
I thought that sawmill would be my trade, but it didn't.
When we was cutting the paper wood and penning it, we got 10 cents a pen, and we'd walk 4 or 5 miles and put up 20 pens a day to make $1 a piece.
What do you mean by pins?
Well, you racked it up, put 2 sticks down and 2 on top of it, 2 on top of it, across it every time, and we put them up 6 foot high at that time. And if we didn't quite make it in 5 days, we'd go back on a Saturday morning and finish up. We had to have that $5 a week, $1 a piece a day. And we used to cut Campbell and Hall at the Yabo for $16 a thousand. And when you get to the first of them, there wasn't no paperwood, that was 4 paperwood days. You'd haul it out there for $16 a thousand. If the landowner would cut it, he'd get $8 stuff and the log would get 8. If the landowner didn't cut it, the log would get 9 and the landowner would get 7 stuff. We'd take it out there to Ingham Day. Yeah, that Ingham Day it was out there then. Anyway, wound up with
That's down at Jordan.
Jordan.
My name's Ernest Golden. I live in the Midway community, just down below Digby here. But I'm also part of this community here also. I belong to the fire department here, and I belong to the Masonic Lodge here. Basically started here in Frankville back in the early teens, right out here in this cemetery. And they had school down, well, Miss Busy said she went to school. They had a schoolhouse down at the bottom, and upstairs they had a Masonic Lodge. But during the Depression, it folded up and went deep up there. Because during the Depression, you heard several of these people that's older than me said, I mean, there just wasn't no money. And no paved roads, no automobile, but anyway, it died out. Like a lot of other lodges in different communities did. And in 1952, Mr. Earl Johnson was building that store over there. And Mr. Dick Reynolds, his father-in-law, decided he'd build a Masonic Lodge up there. At that time, all of the Masons in this area belonged to St. Stephen's. And some of them at Healy Springs, which that lodge went dead about the same time. But Mr. Dick Reynolds said that he would build a lodge on top of the store over there if the Grand Lodge would permit them to organize. And they said, yeah, go ahead. So at that time, Mr. Daniels was registered show at St. Stephen's. There was 18 Masons demitted out of other lodges and defunct lodges and come organized W.M. Reynolds Lodge in Frankville in 1952. And they named it after Mr. Reynolds because he had done so much work. Well, he had done all of the work building the building and wiring it and what have you, you know. And, he was elected worship master, I believe 2 or 3 times. And he was secretary for a number of years. I believe it was in 76, 75, 76. So, Miss Sue Bell Johnson bought that property over there, bought land out at Mary and traded it to the school board for the land here in Frankville, and 10 people went together and bought the old school over there. I believe they seldom said, I believe they pooled their money together and paid something like maybe $1,000 for that building. Is that right? But anyway, I see 3 of them that was, and anyway, when the private school, she bought the land in Mary and donated to the school board for the land over here. And the community, the people in the community already own the building. So after the private school went dead, the Masonic Lodge acquired that old building there, through mostly gifts from the people, and a gift from Miss Sue Bell Johnson for the land, for the use of the land. And we've been over there since, I believe we moved across the street away in 70, I believe I'm at 76. But majorly exists in Frankville with the Reynolds Lodge in 1952, and still going strong today. Have a little less than 100 members. Out here in the old cemetery, the old lodge, I believe they had something like 20. But when they moved up here in 52, there was, with 18 members, the 3 of them still exist. Mr. Earl Johnson is one of them. Mr. Melvin Pritchard down here is one of them. And that, J.P. Reynolds. Isn't that right? J.P. is still. There's 3 of them that still exist.
And y'all have one of the biggest barbecues and fiddlers conventions in the area, don't you?
That is together in Frankville.
Every April?
It's once a year. It's a fiddlers convention. That is a fundraiser for the Masonic Lodge. Masonic Lodge uses that building for their gatherings, and also the community do. We never turn nobody down. There's been more benefits put on right there than the rest of the whole county in a year.
I went through the shrine there originally,
We've had
cold
several-
sands.
We've had several shrine ceremonies over there. We've had numerous scatterfract ceremonies over there.
What about the fire department?
Fire department,
How did
I
it come
believe,
about?
and I was confused when I questioned Mr. Vernon. I thought the fire department came way later than the water department did, but it come in 86. We met in that building, our community did. All of them except right here met in the lodge building on that, and organized that fire department. And it met there, for a year or 2.
Now you have your own building.
We have our own building. We've got 2 pumper trucks in that building. We have a brush truck. We also have a water truck in that. There's 4 pieces of very good equipment in that building. And the people right here, let me say, the people right here in this community started it all. We asked each family to donate $25. Of course, there's a bunch of families here in the community that donated a lot more because they was a lot more concerned about it. We didn't have to go ask them. They come and donate. I mean, they donated some good money. And one just across the line over that, which we cover that Lady Springs area, one over there gave us a large donation.
Thank you.